Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Tomo-chan is a girl episode number 8 reaction. Alright, the previous episode we get to see two things. The first part was Tomo's childhood, where and how she met Jun, and Misuzu was also there, and how their childhood were, and how at first obviously Jun was more of the gamer kid, but little by little, like there was that whole incident where like some upperclassmen were bullying him, and Tomo got the game back for him. And from that point onwards, Jun decided to become stronger himself, and that's why we see Jun being so so passionate about being stronger and catching up to Tomo. That was the first part. The next part was a beach episode, or a beach section of the episode. And yeah, like more stuff happens. Jun gets more conscious of Tomo, and that was basically it. So yeah, let's see what happens in this one, episode number 8. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles on the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, here we go. The king game. Oh no, this is bad. This is bad. Alright. Yes, perfect. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Oh, great. Ooh. Okay. All right. Hmm. Okay. Night of the Summer Festival. All right. No. Okay. You know what? I feel like they're going to follow him. Yeah, I was wondering that. Like he's usually so excited, even when going back from school. Oh boy. Hmm. All right, let's get a peek inside his brain. Okay, there you go. Never mind. Oh boy, here we go. uh, nah, he's thinking about stuff, He's thinking about, which is nice. Up until now, he was very like like open with everything, but now he's thinking. Yeah. Okay. Great. Even Carol knows. Mm. Mm. I don't think it's wrong, but yeah, I guess. If I use him, though. Oh, I can see. Okay, interesting. So she basically wanted to spend more time with Tomo. So having having June, like the whole thing with making her more feminine, she can spend more time with her, and that's why she said that I want to use. Oh, is this? Wait, is that June's mom? Okay. All right, let's go. Oh, a yukata. Oh, that's Carol. Okay. Go who? Oh, Misaki. Yeah. Oh, there you go. She has won a yukata. I think so. Yeah, there you go. Yo, look at him. He's like, oh my god. The aura. Oh god. No. Oh my god, you. Come on. Good lord. Wait. Did. Oh my god. Well. Oh. Yup. Got some very good pictures, I have to say. Wow. Wow. Oh my god, the kids will cry now. They'll be like, what the hell is this? Ah, there you go. He's giving. Well, he daughter zoned her, so it doesn't matter if they're holding hands. What? What? Oh my god. uh, oh, those are candies. Oh boy, what the? What? Oh, great. Here we go. Hmm. What? Oh, great. Come on. Ah, not this again. Yeah. Listen to her for goddamn God's sake. Yeah. Oh boy. Ah, there you go. Progress. Okay, what? All right. He went into autopilot mode for a second. Oh, oh god. Well, that was a system malfunction for a second there. But he recovered. I feel like we should wait a little bit more because he's still kind of like thinking about his feelings. Like, oh good. Oh, there they are. Okay, please don't do that. In the fireworks sound, the whole confession will be just one of those tropes of anime. Please stop this. Not in front of a train station, not in front of a. Ah. And she's afraid of that because it's unknown territory. Ooh. Oh boy. Ooh. Ah. Well, I kind of agree that Jun needs a little bit more time to actually sort out his feelings because otherwise it'll just all go to deaf ears. Yeah, so a little bit more. I feel like they need to prepare. There you go. He still hasn't figured it out. So. Okay. Oh. Okay. Distance between them. Which is yeah good. Yo, is this? God. Oh my God! Stop. Oh boy. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Keikakudori. Hmm. That's probably what she's trying to do. Carol, like kind of making her. Hmm. Oh great! What are these guys doing here? Ah. Well. Oh my god, they're gonna target her. Oh boy. Well, she's not in a good mood, you know? Yeah, you're socially over, you know? Oh my god, Carol is here. Oh no. Uh... Whoa! She's ready! Um, yeah, okay. Yeah. What are you doing? What the? Alright. Oh my god. Alright, why are you guys hiding in a warehouse? This is not good. Oh. Oh, she called him. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Oh boy. Well, I feel like Tomo followed him. Oh wait, what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh. No, I don't think she's angry. Yeah, she did it to help you out, you know. And I'm sure she knows that. Hmm. Okay, don't scream. Yeah. Yeah. Oh god. Oh, now okay, you know what? These guys are kind of going a little bit far with the whole thing. Like, what is this? You guys are. Oh my god. Well, you're over socially and also. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yep. You need 10 more years of training. Go back. Yo, that guy looks like Ishigami. Well, they're there. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. This. Oh no. This is bad timing. Uh. Okay. Yeah. Like, go back. Go. What the? Wait. What the? Oh my god. No. Okay. Damn. Yeah. Yeah, well. Okay. You destroy them socially? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Wait, so you didn't realize that? Okay. Yeah. Oh boy. What? That and yourself. Oh boy. Yep, Jun was waiting. Yeah. I was thinking, why did she come here? Wow. Hmm. Well, she knows that. He knows that. Just squishy. Hmm. Well, yeah, this is more. Wow. All right, that was a really good episode. The voice is. Yay, said it. Okay. Now, first things first, there's one thing I need to first talk about. First of all, the whole thing with Misuzu and Tomo and like Jun. Here's the thing. One thing I could gather from this episode is that remember that episode where Misuzu was just saying something like, "Oh, I'm doing this all for my sake." At that episode, I did not understand what she was trying to say, but now in this episode, it's pretty clear, and I think I'm probably understanding this correctly now. So it always bothered me why Misuzu asks Tomo to be more feminine, because I'm pretty sure Misuzu also realizes that it's not that is the problem here. That is not the main problem, that June doesn't look at Tomo as a girl. She's I'm like the thing here is that June wants Tomo to be more like herself, and that is why in the end you can see how Jun said something like, "Oh, it doesn't matter if Tomo is a boy or a girl. It doesn't matter." And not only that, the main thing is that she be herself. Like the way she acts, if it's feminine or masculine, it doesn't matter. She be herself. That's all it matters. And Tomo's just Tomo, and that is why Misuzu was like, "Oh, you and that squishy girl," which is Carol. Carol also does the same thing, as you can see here. She here tries to, like the whole thing about trying to make Tomo like accept herself as her own and not be more feminine, just because, like to that thing. I can see that Carol is also trying to do that. That is why Misuzu was also a little bit not happy with her. Now, why does Misuzu want Tomo to be more feminine, and why? The reason. I've always thought about it, and I've always thought that Misuzu's plenty intelligent, and I'm pretty sure she knows that like Tomo being masculine or feminine, it doesn't matter to Jun. You know, there's something completely different going with Jun, and there's a completely different reason why Jun doesn't see Tomo as a girl, as a person of, the other, doesn't, show his affection in a proper way, because he thinks that he's not worthy enough for Tomo. He thinks that Tomo is way ahead of her, and he wants to catch up with her. So the whole masculine, feminine, the way she acts doesn't matter at all. So I've always thought, why does Misuzu, Misuzu is pretty intelligent to understand that. So why does she always say Tomo to be more feminine? I realized that in this episode. The main reason is for herself. You saw that scene, it really struck me when she said that it's for myself, when we saw her going along with Tomo and kind of spending more time with her, and when Tomo started to become more feminine, like Misuzu started telling her more stuff, started hanging out more with her. And now here's the thing. As you can see, Misuzu obviously likes Tomo extremely as a friend. She's her best friend, obviously. And Misuzu being a type of person who's not able to bring her feelings, outside. She's very, embarrassed about it. You've seen that. She keeps it to herself, and obviously Tomo's the stuff that Tomo does is more in the masculine side. For example, climbing up trees, just going and beating up other people, because they hang out together and all that. Playing games which boys play. These type of things. Misuzu never really was able to spend that much time with Tomo. Because obviously Misuzu doesn't do all of that, and that was like the whole thing. However, Tomo never had like a very close male friend, and that is why Misuzu never really bothered with anything. However, after Jun came in, Jun and Tomo clicked together, and they became like the best of friends. And obviously Tomo started liking Jun, which made the situation more, I guess you could say, concerning for Misuzu. Misuzu started thinking that Tomo is going to hang out more with Jun, because he's a male, and he does the stuff that Tomo does, and their hobbies and everything are more matching. And that is why she felt a lot more, I guess you could say, concerned about her and Tomo's relationship, and she thought that she's going to lose Tomo as a friend, because she doesn't really do the type of stuff that Tomo does. She's not interested in all of that. However, when she realized that Tomo likes Jun, she made a plan of making Tomo, not plan I would say, but like a way to make Tomo spend more time with her by saying something like, "Oh, you should be more feminine." And obviously for that he needs to interact more with Misuzu, and that is why he started interacting more with Misuzu, started taking tips from her and everything, which obviously made Misuzu happy, because now she's spending more time with Tomo. That's the whole thing. It's a very, what can I say, a very complicated thing that I wasn't able to understand up until this episode. But here in this episode, when Misuzu explained that bit, where she said that, oh, this is all for me, I spend more time with her, it clicked. I was like, okay, so that's what's going on here. You know, and that is always why Misuzu has this type of a, like a animosity towards June. Obviously, it's not like, obviously it's not a, like a legitimate animosity. It's just because, like, my best friend is spending more time with you, that type of thing. And she always felt probably discouraged, and she always probably felt like, afraid of the fact that Tomo will probably not, interact with her and not be as good as friends with her because Jun is here now. And so she got this chance to make Tomo spend more time with her, and that is why she took it. And that is why she always tells Tomo and gives her these ideas to, make her more feminine, because she will be able to participate on, all the activities that they do now. So that is the whole thing. And I think I'm kind of correct in assuming this, because I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here. Because like I said, it always, like, it bothered me, because I thought, why does always, like, Mitsuzu tell Tomo that, oh, become more feminine? Because I'm pretty sure everyone knows this and everyone realizes this, that it's not the fact that Tomo is more masculine, that is the reason why Jun doesn't set his sights on her. That's not the reason. Like Jun said, it doesn't matter if she's more masculine or feminine. I don't care. That's not the point. And I'm pretty sure Misuzu is enough intelligent to realize that. So why does she always push Tomo to become more feminine? Because of this, because of herself, so that she can participate in all of that, and she will have like a legitimate reason to spend more time with Tomo. Because obviously she's embarrassed to, like, express her feelings and say that, oh, I want to spend more time with you, Tomo. You're my friend. However, you have, like, the stuff that you do, I'm not able to keep up with it. That's why I'm not able to spend time with you. So she won't be able to be, like, truthful with that, because, that's basically Misuzu. So this is what's happening here. I think that's probably what's happening, because I realized this here. And that is why she always made Tomo go in the direction of, oh, be more feminine, because it's for herself, so that she's able to spend more time with her. So I think that's what's going on, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like, this is a very interesting, like a very interesting relationship dynamic between Tomo, Jun, and Misuzu, which I feel like I've never seen in any anime before. And obviously, Carol is here, and I'm pretty sure Carol can understand what Misuzu is trying to do, and that is why Carol sometimes tries to, like, make Tomo do whatever she wants to, instead of Misuzu telling her what to do, and that type of thing. I don't know, like, that's what's going on, I think. Anyways, yeah. And now, also the fact, I'm pretty sure, like, like Carol, not Carol, sorry, Misuzu also wants Tomo and Jun to, like, go out with each other. Like, that's genuine, I'm pretty sure, because she also, like, helps out a lot in kind of, like, like trying to stick them together. For example, here in this episode, as we saw in the beginning, the whole King's game, where she ordered Tomo to go to the fireworks festival with Jun. Like, that's genuine. Obviously, she wants Tomo to, like, gain happiness. Like, that is genuine. But there is also a little bit of, like I said, like, section for herself. That is why she to spend more time with Tomo, she does this. Always tries to make Tomo, like, tells her to be more feminine, so that she can spend more time with her and talk to her about all these things. Anyways, all right, here in this episode we begin with the king game, and Carol first wins, but Carol is like, oh, let me impersonate Misuzu, and she does a pretty good job of impersonating her. She's like, I'm going to destroy you socially. And then Misuzu becomes the king, and Misuzu orders Tomo to go to the fireworks festival. Not fireworks festival, sorry, the summer festival, I think, with Jun. And okay, so after that, we get to see that Tomo goes to Jun, and she's like, oh, well, let's go to the fireworks festival. And I was thinking Jun would be like, like, because he got excited at the mere fact that they're going to go home together. Well, so fireworks festival, I was also thinking that he would be like, oh, let's go, that's so great. But he was like very nonchalant. He's like, all right, but these two are going to follow us or something. Go with us. And Tom was like, no, we too will go. And Jun kind of thinks about it, and Jun's like, all right, yeah, fine. Like, she kind of smiles as well. And he's like, yeah, let's go. So, as always, just like as audiences, I was also thinking, why is he not more excited about this? Because, Jun is very excitable. And Tomo's also thinking the same thing. She's like, what's going on? Why is he not excited? And Cal says that if this goes on, like Tomo and Jun would become like a more, like, like a normal boy and girl. They won't be able to get into this whole relationship thing. While we see Jun's, like, inside Jun's head, he obviously he's excited in his heart inside of him. However, he's more, like, conflicted about his own feelings, where he's like, oh, like, like he's thinking about Tomo, like, and how he's not able to treat Tomo like he always has been able to do that. So that's the thing. He's more conflicted about his feelings, and that is why he was a lot more calmer than he usually is, which is a good thing, obviously. And in Tomo's place, we see Tomo, like, like trying to sleep. I love how Cal is just hugging her. And here is where we get to see a little bit more, and see and understand a little bit more of Misuzu, what she's thinking, and this is where it struck me. Okay, this part, I'm going to read this part. Misuzu's laying down and she's thinking, when Tomo came to me to tell me she loved Junjiro, I gave her a hackneyed response without even thinking about it, okay? And okay, so first she was very casual about it. This was not her plan from the beginning. She was very casual about it. She was like, okay, then why don't you try to be more feminine? And then she realized that, wait a minute, I just gave her a response, and I'm pretty sure after giving that response to Tomo started coming more to Misuzu and asking like, oh, how should I become more feminine? What should I do? This and that brought more, like, like things, and brought more, like, started spending more time with Misuzu, which Misuzu understood that, oh, this is a good way to spend more time with her, which I never usually do, because she is way more, like, like she does more stuff which are like boyish, which I don't partake in. So, like, talking about how you should make your hair, makeups and stuff, dresses and stuff, Tomo started probably coming and asking Misuzu for help. And Misuzu's like, oh, this is good, I'm spending more time with her. And there you go. Here's where Mrs. And then Tomo dedicated herself to the idea way more than I expected. Which, so yeah, at first this was not a plan. She just gave like just a casual response at the beginning, and then she realized like, oh, she's way more into this than I expected, which works out pretty well because I'm getting to spend more time with her. And she, okay, here it says, and then Tomo dedicated herself to the idea way more than I expected. She even started showing interest in more girlish leisure activities. Maybe I really was wrong, like Carol said, about what I should have said to her back then as her best friend. But then she says, but I have no intention of going back now. Hmm. And here's where I kind of understand what she's doing. She says that if I use him, Tomo and I can do more, and goes to sleep. And there you go. So she's basically someone who wants to spend more time with Tomo because she's her only friend. Obviously, Carol is there now, but and that is why she is like this. She tries to make Tomo more feminine because Cal can Mrs. can spend more time with her talking about all that stuff. And yeah. Okay, so she wakes up. I love how Cal probably in the middle of the night got up, put Misuzu in in Tomo's bed, and just went on top and started sleeping on the actual bed. And Misuzu's like, "What the hell is this?" All right. Next day, June wakes up, and June is still thinking what to do. And he's like, oh, I'm going to understand and I'm going to realize what my feeling is. Let's go. And he goes outside, and we see a little bit more of Misuzu and Carol. They're also ready with, Carol is ready with the yukata. And um, Carol is like, oh, I've also called Misaki senpai about this. And Carol, Misuzu's like, wait, so I'll be the third wheel, wouldn't I? And Carol's like, if it means you end up alone, I'm not going. What's your deal? Oh boy, that's cute. All right. Next, we get to see that Jun is waiting, and Tomo comes in with the yukata, and I love how Jun reacts to it. Jun looks at her, and he's like, what is this aura coming? And he's I love how his eyes are kind of squinted because it's so bright. And he's like, all right, let's go. And all right, so they are in the festival, and obviously the stall owners, the first one, the gold fish scooping guy, he's like, oh, June, where's Tomo? She's not with you this year. And Tomo's like, I'm here, you can't see me. And he's like, what the hell, who is this? And he's like, oh my god, you look so different. And I love how he says that, oh, what did she call him? He called her? I can't believe the stall destroying demon of the summer festival. Stall destroying demon grew up to be such a beauty. And I love how he takes a picture and starts posting it to the other people. And he's like, oh, look at this, this is Tomo now, like, look at her, while at the same time also warning them and being like, they're here, they're going to obviously destroy all the stuff, not destroy as per destroy, but just take all the winnings for themselves. Obviously that would mean that they'll go on full loss. So and I was kind of thinking, wait a minute, since they're taking all the prizes, what about the other people? Won't they be sad because there won't be anything left? But we see June kind of handing all the other most of the gifts which they don't need to all the other children. I see him giving the goldfish to one of the little girls, and I was providing kind of distributing all the gifts to others, which is kind of nice, obviously, because yeah, what will Tomo do with so many gifts? So they're just distributing it among everyone. And yeah. Okay, so now next we get to see Misaki, grabbing Carol's hand, and Mrs. is like, why are you grabbing her hand? He's like, oh, you want to see something? Something? Look at this. Hey, let's go for her hand, and she just disappears. He goes and grabs her and gets back again. And he's like, this is why, don't want her getting lost. And yeah, they're having fun, and Carol buys some masks, tells that Misuzu looks like that demon mask was for Misuzu because that's her. Okay, next we see Tomo looking at a little a little candy, like a rose candy and something, and she was like, oh, this looks so good. And she's like, oh, Jun, look at this. But then she sees some random people over there, and as always they're like, oh, what are you doing, are you all alone here or something? Come on, hang with us. But Jun comes in, Jun grabs Tomo and leaves. And obviously Tomo's very happy. Tomo's like, oh, he's looking at me as a girl. And she's like, oh, thank you, Jun, thank you so much for helping me out there. And here Jun is like, oh, I'm so sorry, you yourself probably could have taken care of it, but I don't know what came over me. And now, interesting thing here, because here's the thing, you can see that Jun's feelings for Tomo is changing little by little. It's pretty obvious here, and that's why after seeing that situation, he in his head he knows that Tomo can take care of it, but he goes and tries to help her out and does that. And after doing that, immediately his head goes to the previous thought that, wait a minute, why did I do that? My body just moved. I even if I didn't do that, she could have probably handled it herself because she's so more capable than me. And like I said, he still thinks that there's a huge gap between them, and he's trying to catch up to her. That thing is coming in again. So obviously he himself helped Tomo at that situation because he didn't like it, but at the same time, thinking about it logically and rationally, he's like, why did I do that? I didn't need to do that. And that's why it's like a weird mixture of feelings, and that is why he apologized at that moment. He's like, I'm sorry for doing that. And obviously Tomo's not happy about it because Tomo's like, what the hell is wrong with you? You helped me, let me thank you. It's not the question is not here that if I'll be able to take them out or not. The question is here, the question that is here we go. She kind of explains it pretty nicely. She says, I might be strong in a fight, but there are things that I can and can't do. And that is where you help me out. More strength doesn't mean that I can do anything and everything. So, you helped me out in that situation, which was something I appreciated. So let me thank you. And I love how she punches him, and June actually like stops, and he's like, oh, okay, sorry, sure, sure, thank me if you want. And Tomo like then thanks June. And June immediately looks at her, and then he's like, he goes into autopilot mode, just tries to like to kind of like grab Tomo's hand, and then realizes what he's doing, and he's like, okay, let's go then. And obviously Tomo's happy. Tomo's like, oh, this is nice, like our relationship is changing. And there you go. Now next we see Carol and what's her name, Carol, Misuzu, and Misaki. They're going, like Carol and Misaki are kind of like like talking to each other, and Misuzu's like just walking, and she sees that Tomo and Jun are there on top, and she looks at them, and Carol immediately is like, "Oh, I'm not letting you go anywhere. Let's go." And you can clearly see here that Carol doesn't want Misuzu to go and like kind of go like go along with them, or like interrupt there. And yeah, so that's why Carol came, and that is why Misuzu said that is why she invited me all along, because like I doubt that was the full reason. I'm sure Carol wanted to hang out with Misuzu. That was definitely the reason. But at the same time, there was also probably a little part where Carol wanted Misuzu to let Tomo go at least, on her own. Not always like like just like tell her what to do or how to do. Carol wants Tomo to be more independent in what she does, like do what she wants to do. It's always Misuzu telling her what to do, and that's what she does. But Carol, I'm pretty sure that's what Carol was trying here, and Misuzu realizes that's what she's doing, and Misuzu's not happy about it, because that would mean she's going to get lesser time to interact with Tomo, which is something that she doesn't want. Jun and Tomo's relationship is the only thing that she can be a part of, and she can like talk with Tomo about it. So if Carol bars her from interacting with Tomo in these type of situations, that will bring Misuzu's whole interaction with Tomo to a standstill. And Misuzu doesn't like that, and that is why Misuzu is not happy about the fact that Carol is not letting her in, like kind of interfere in this whole situation. So okay, now after that we get to see that Jun and Tomo's there, like waiting for the firework, and here Tomo's thinking like, should I confess again? And I was like, please don't do that, this is a fireworks place. Two places where you should never confess is in front of a train track and a place where fireworks are going to go out, because always a train comes in at the perfect timing, or the fireworks starts popping. So please don't do that. Like that's like like one of the biggest rules in anime, in slice of life animes. Don't do that if you want your confession to succeed. And I was thinking that, and Tomo here, like, obviously that doesn't happen, but Tomo here kind of decides by the end that she's not going to confess, because she is afraid of the fact, like she's saying here, she's like, wait a minute, so if I confess, what's going to happen? Okay, let me read this part. It's an interesting thought that comes into her head. She says that, where is that part? I feel like I can make him understand this time if I confess. And what if that happens? What we have now will end, and now will end, and something will begin, which is true, obviously. And then she says that, but what is something? It's not like there's even anything I want, like, because it's true. She just wants to, like, just spend more time with Jun, and like that's why she's saying is there's nothing else I want. I'm plenty happy with this. However, I still want to progress my relationship. And she kind of mistakes this for thinking that, oh, I'm content with this. That means that I'm not feminine enough. I don't have anything else to do after becoming a proper couple with him, because I never did all of these things. I'm not interested in these things. But I do want to be more, like, more than friends with him. But at the same time, I don't know what to do, which is obviously like I'm pretty sure they'll understand it eventually, that, like, yeah, obviously something will change, but at the same time nothing will change. They'll just be more friendlier, more like, like more, I guess you could say, affectionate with each other, and that will be it. What they're going to do is they're going to continue doing it. Like Tomo's afraid of that. Oh, I don't know what else to do after this. If this changes and something else starts, I don't know what to do there. Because all of these things that we are doing currently, I'm content with it. Yeah, you don't need to do anything extra after becoming, like a couple with him. And as soon as she realizes that and understands that, she'll gain back that courage, because now she thinks that, oh, like, I won't be, if this changes, I don't know what to do after this, and that's what she's afraid of. Okay, she says that I just wanted to make Jun my own. And then she thinks, now it's not the time. There's no chance for us right now. I would disagree with this partially, but at the same time I kind of agree with that, but not because of Tomo's reasoning. What Tomo is thinking is that, oh, I don't know anything else to do. If I become a couple with him, what will I do? So it won't work out. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with the fact that it wouldn't work out currently because Jun is confused about his feelings. Unless and until that passes, I feel like Jun will just again not really listen to her, or just like kind of not think about it. And that's what's going to happen. So I agree with what she said, but at the same time, not the same reason that she said for. You know, Tomo's, what can I say, like fear, I think that wouldn't happen. Because like I said, like, yeah, like if we become like, more than friends, like if we become a couple, there's no need for anything to change. Like this is not rocket science. Okay. But yeah, I do agree that for now, if she confessed, it wouldn't work. Maybe it could have worked, but I feel like there was a good chance it won't work because Jun is still questioning his own feelings, and unless and until that passes, like he nothing will get in his head. So later on, we get to see that Tomo's very happy. Tomo's like, oh, like, thank you, Jun. Like, let's come here next year as well. And she's smiling. And Jun here realizes that, oh, there's one thing I at least realize, even though I'm confused, is that I won't be able to have, I won't be having like a, what does he say? Like a fist fight or something? I did figure out one thing. I can't have a real punching match with Tomo again, which is obviously the reason behind it is because he's starting to see Tomo in a different way. But yeah. Okay, so after that, next we get to see Tomo and Misuzu and Carol are on the roof, and they're kind of like, talking about like, what's going on. And Tomo's like, oh, something has changed, and Jun is acting weirdly. And she says like, now usually he kind of like, claps her back, kind of punches her, or kind of like, like pushes her. But now he comes at the morning and he uses his pinky finger to touch her. And Tomo's like, what the hell is that? I don't want that. And Tomo's like, oh my god, what the hell is it? And she leaves. And Carol says, things with Tomo-chan and Jun-kun are starting to change. Just like you planned it, Misuzu-chan, right? Kind of throwing shade at her. You don't seem very happy though. And she's like, shut up. Anyways, so okay, now here a little bit of Misuzu's monologuing again. She is in the classroom. She's like, what is that squishy trying to do? She doesn't seem like she wants to get in the way, but and Tomo, she's going to have to grow up one of these days. Same goes for Junichiro. So what's wrong with things changing now? No, yeah, obviously things need to change, but not in the way Misuzu is trying to do it. Like things need to change, but without the individuals changing. That's the perfect way, like I said. Yeah, things need to change, but Tomo and Jun, they should be true to themselves. That they don't need to change. However, the situation needs to change. And what Misuzu is trying to do is she's trying to change Tomo to be more, feminine, so that she can have more time with her and spend more time with her, which is something that Carol doesn't want Misuzu doing. And you can see that her trying to interfere whenever Misuzu is trying to interact with Tomo. And Misuzu also realizes that the only people who have no clue about what the hell is going on is Tomo and Jun. So there you go. Okay, so then Mitsuzu says that, um, okay, so what's wrong in changing now? To go from best friends with no reservations around each other to lovers. If that happens to those two, I'll and yeah, there you go. She's kind of like struggling to think that where she will be, and at that like they'll become more they'll become lovers, but where will she be then? And there you go. Now after that, we see these delinquents and they don't learn. Like I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? You guys should study now. Like that. Like what are you doing? Like like it's just good lord. And obviously they put their attention on Misuzu, and they're like, all right, like if you're not able to do anything to Tomo and Jun, let's grab Misuzu. And they come to Misuzu, and I love how he grabs Misuzu, and Misuzu just looks at him, and she's like don't touch me, and he gets freaked out at the beginning, and then he's like she's like, oh, I'm going to like I'm going to destroy you socially completely, and don't you dare grab me. And then Cal comes in, obviously trying to help in this situation, and Misuzu tries to make it like make the situation not go in the bad direction, and she's like, oh, that she has nothing to do with me or Tomo, because she doesn't want Cal to get involved in this. And Cal, we can see that Cal is very afraid of this situation. She's like just froze at that moment. However, like seeing them drag away Misuzu, Cal just goes and brings out her taser, and I don't know who gave her that taser, but that was good decision. Probably either her mom gave it to her, or probably Misaki senpai. I'm not sure who did it, but someone did it. And I love how she has like a glove so that it doesn't get to her. And yeah, she tases one of the leader, and he falls down, and Misuzu grabs her, and she's like, oh, let's run. And Carol, seeing that she grabbed her, like probably it bothered her, the whole thing about where she said that, oh, she has nothing to do with us, she's not our friend. She tried to shake it away. However, she just turns, slips, and falls on her face in a puddle. So yeah, then Misuzu grabs her and runs and goes into a warehouse. And I was saying, like, why the hell are they in a warehouse? Which again, there's a big reason for Misuzu doing that, which you get to know later on, which Jun kind of talks about, like why she specifically came to a warehouse. And so okay, what she does, obviously she calls Jun, and she's like, I need a bit of help. Carol is also here. We are in a little bit of a tight spot. Come to this place, and don't tell Tomo. And Jun was going to go, and Tomo's like, oh, where are you going? And when Tomo sees Jun's face, she's like, oh, something really is wrong. And she's like, oh, where are you going with that face? And so now Misaki senpai kind of hears about this from the from the shadows, while Tomo and Jun are talking about it. Now here's another thing that again, Jun's own complex are kind of seeping out here, where Tomo's like, oh, I'm going to go with you, and Jun is like, wait, do you think I'm useless? Because like I said, again, this is the thing that is always bothering Jun, is that he thinks that he's not good enough to catch up to Tomo, and this complex is seeping out again, and he misunderstands the situation, and he's like, why, you think I'm not good enough? However, Tomo's like, that's not the problem here. The problem here is that they're my friends as well, so I cannot just stay here doing nothing, And then Jun realizes, and he's like, oh yeah, that's true. And he's like, yeah, that's the kind of person is my best friend. And and Misaki hears about all of that from the shadows, and there you go. So they're going towards the the warehouse, and inside the warehouse we see Misuzu and Carol. Carol is not happy with Misuzu because Misuzu said that, oh, you're not. She didn't really understand what she was trying to do here. So she's like, oh, I'm going to talk to people who have nothing. I have nothing to do with. And Misuzu's like, look, you're also my friend, so I was trying to help you out. And as soon as she hears that, she tries to go and hug her. And Misuzu's like, stop this. And yeah, those guys come in this type of a situation. The delinquent, he comes in and he's like, oh, hello there, and immediately Tomo's there. Tomo comes and grabs the guy, and Tomo's like, oh, so this is what you have been doing, like, I've warned you guys so many times and you don't learn. And yeah, Cal is like, oh, Tomo-chan. So Tomo-chan came after all, and Mrs. is like, yeah, that's just how what she is. Got a feeling that she would come. Okay, okay, all right. Carol says that I love Tomo-chan for being like that. There you go. Don't you don't, Misuzu-chan? And yeah, so okay, here we go. So Misuzu, obviously Misuzu was trying not to inform Tomo about this because, like we know, she she's trying to make Tomo more feminine, obviously, so that they can spend more time with each other. However, doing this is going to, I think, like make her revert back to her usual self, which she didn't want to. That's why she told June not to involve Tomo. However, Tomo came in, and that's why Carol says here that you see this, don't you like Tomo like this? Like this, the normal Tomo is the best Tomo. So don't you think so? And yeah, there you go. That was the whole thing. And okay, now June was there waiting, and they were trying to get June. However, Tomo's like, "Oh, don't you dare take my praise away from me." You know, June, these people, I'm going to deal with them. You know. And yeah, so Misaki comes in, and Misaki's like, "Oh, thank God, these guys are being being handled by Tomo and Jun. And let me go and grab Carol and Misuzu." So obviously at this moment, you know, Carol was changing clothes because her, like dress, her whole uniform got got dirty because she fell down, and Mi- Misaki comes in and Misaki sees this situation, which now that I'm looking at it, I can see why he misunderstood this situation. It's understandable because you can see, like, Carol is very, like, tired, and like her face and everything is like filled with mud, and she like, yeah, I can understand why Misaki misunderstood this situation. And at first I was like, what's going on? Then I realized he misunderstood it because like Misaki comes in pissed off and he's like, oh, was that you who did it, and tries to go and beat up that guy, the delinquent leader, and Tomo and Jun tries to stop him. And Carol is like, oh, I'm so happy. But then Mrs. is like, oh, tell them to stop, otherwise they'll die. So they tells him the situation, and he's embarrassed. But obviously, Carol is very happy. So they leave, and Jun and Tomo is also there. Mrs. is like, oh, you guys go. I'll talk with these guys. And Tomo leaves, and I kind of realized that, yeah, Jun will probably wait because he wants to have a conversation with Misuzu properly after this whole thing. So Jun kind of goes and stays outside, and I was wondering what Misuzu is going to do here in this situation, and she does a perfect thing. She's like, "Oh, you guys, and you guys just perked up as soon as Tomo and Jun left, don't you? You guys are really like like lame people." And then she said that, oh, you guys know about the Aizawa Dojo, and obviously Aizawa Dojo is very famous for like the dad and all the students there. And Mrs. was like, yeah, you know about it. That's their only daughter. So if you do anything else in this situation, you know what's going to happen to you and your group. And they are freaked out. The delinquent leader is like, oh my god, like, I'll stop, but what can I do about my group? There's so many of them, I cannot tell them to stop. And Mrs. is like, nah, you're going to do that. From this point onwards, you're going to help, like protect us and yourselves as well. It's for your own good. So try to make sure nobody messes with us. Like we know, like she kind of destroyed them socially, I guess, kind of. And yeah, Mrs. comes out, and Jun is waiting, and here they have a very interesting conversation. And Jun says, you ran to this particular place on purpose, didn't you? And and Mrs. is like, yeah, he tried to mess with me and my friend. I wasn't going to let them walk away unscathed. So basically, what she did is she perpetuated this whole situation herself because she wanted to actually crush them completely. Because I'm pretty sure Misuzu realized that if if obviously she could have done a lot of other things. She could have run away to like a populated place, maybe go to the police or something else. She could have easily done something, go back to schools where a lot of people will be there, they won't be able to mess with him. But what is that going to do? They are going to come back a few days later, you know. So she deliberately came to this warehouse and called Jun and everyone in so that they could have a final showdown, and she could completely crush these delinquents and take away everything from them, and they are never going to mess with them. She wanted to do that. And that's what she did here, and that is why she chose a warehouse. Because I was so confused. I was like, why did she choose a warehouse? Like, what's going on? She's intelligent. And it's so interesting to see that everything that she does, sometimes it seems like, why is she doing it? But there's like a bigger reason behind it. And I can see what she did here. And I guess you could say that it did work out pretty well, because by the end we see the delinquents are never going to mess with them after this. She actually crushed them all together, and not only them, she made sure that their friends don't mess with them as well. So that is Misuzu. She's way too intelligent for. She's too smart, and she even like putting herself in danger. She did this so that they don't mess with them again, and she made this whole plan. And well, obviously she knew that as soon as she would call Jun would come and help them out. And after this whole thing, she'll probably tell them that, oh, what the Aizawa dojo, this is their only girl, and she would really reveal that and make them completely crushed from the inside. And that is why she made this a long-winded thing, because she wanted the impact to hit them even harder. Because as Jun said, you could have done that previously, before all of these messy situation. You could have done that way earlier. But no, she wanted to actually crush them completely. Not only them, but their group completely in this way. And love how Jun is like, you're not going to die a pleasant death. Oh boy. Okay, so Misuzu says like, oh, why were you waiting for me? And Jun is like, well, you're a girl as well, And Misuzu is like, so is Tomo. And here we go. Here is what Jun says. Jun is like, yeah, but with her, it's not about being a guy or a girl, which is true. Like I was saying, it doesn't matter if Tomo is more masculine or feminine. It doesn't matter. Tomo's Tomo. And that is not the reason why Jun is not looking at her as a girl, as a person of of the opposite sex. He's not being affectionate or realizing his own feelings. Not because she's more masculine. That's not the reason. The reason is completely different. He has his own problems. He thinks that he's not able to catch up with her. That is the reason. So it's not the problem is not that she's masculine or feminine. She's a boy or a girl. That's not the thing. That is not the problem here. The problem is something completely different. And that's what Jun says there. Like, it doesn't matter, Tomo being a boy or a girl. And Misuzu punches him, and she's like, I don't want to hear that. Not from you or that squishy. And yeah, because Misuzu knows that completely, and she still does it because she wants to spend time with Tomo. And that's why she says, I don't want to hear that from him, because she knows it. She knows what she's trying to say. She realizes that completely, but she's still trying to make Tomo more feminine, and because she wants to spend more time with Tomo. And yeah, after that we get to see next day Tomo. Tomo goes to Jun, and Jun is like, oh, Tomo, how are you? And kind of grabs her shoulder, and Tomo's like, oh, you're back to normal, yay. Starts just high-fiving him. And she's like, this is the best. And this is perfect. And she starts running. And that's where it ended. A really good episode. This was a very good episode, a very interesting episode. And I'm very impressed with Misuzu, I'll be honest. There's so many layers to her whole character. And the whole character dynamic between Misuzu, Tomo, and Jun is very interesting. This is something I was not expecting. And the whole Misuzu, why Misuzu, it's basically because of her. She herself wants to spend time more with Tomo. That is why since Tomo doesn't do boyish girlish stuff, the whole her gaining feelings for Jun made her gain more attention to these type of girlish stuff, which is something Misuzu could partake in. That is why Misuzu started spending more time with Tomo, which she liked, because up until that time Tomo was not interested in all of that. So Misuzu wasn't spending more time with Tomo, which she wanted to. So now that she got an opportunity, she clung to it. And she doesn't want to let that go. And she knows that, and she in her head she understands that, and she thinks that she's manipulating her friends, which she feels bad about. But at the same time, she's like, "Oh, it's a ship that has already set sail. I cannot come back from this now." So that was a very interesting episode. Probably the best episode in this show. It has so many things, and like I said, I'm very impressed with Misuzu because there's so many things that she does that's very intelligent, like the whole warehouse thing. If you think about it, I was so confused why she brought them to the warehouse, but then in the end, I understood she did that to completely destroy them. Like completely. If she didn't bring them to the warehouse and just went somewhere away to lose them, they would have come back sooner or later again, 5 or 10 days later. But she went there and made the whole stage in such a way that she can completely destroy them physically, mentally, from every way, and so that they never come and bother them again. That was fantastic. Okay, there you go. That was it. That was my reaction to episode number 8 of Tomo-chan is a Girl. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed, comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, and I'll check them out. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Tomo-chan is a Girl. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.